Certainly, yeah, yeah. In fact, here's where I want to ask you this question, Todd. A bit of a controversial one, obviously, given the topic. I don't know if you heard, Zizek in a couple of his more public interviews, more like political, non-philosophical interviews.
Yeah,
He is pertaining to the LGBTQ community again. He
yeah,
says he's not a fan of the designated as LGBTQ, and then he says that the plus can be this its own identity. And he even, I think, paraphrases an Australian theorist. I forgot their name, but regardless, the plus can be its own identity.
Although I was accused of I don't know what, I really, for theoretical reasons, read the last chapter in my last book where I explain it, but I really believe in subversive potential, not in this cheap sense they cause disorder, but some deep insights on which LGBTQ, this transgenderism, is based. But since we are here also among some of you elite philosophers, I would like to draw one attention to it. You know that the official term is now LGBT plus or LGBTQ whatever plus. Now, usually, sorry to be critical against at least part of your tradition, but usually this plus is understood in empiricist way, of British empiricism. The idea is this one. It's not just the binary sexuality, male or female, blah, blah. There are dozens, multiplicity of gender or sex positions. And since no classification can be really exhausting, what if another guy comes and says, I read your classification, but I'm neither bigender, nor butch, nor this, nor asexual, I'm something else. So it's this simple worry, what if we nonetheless missed some position? So let's leave the space open. I think, and it's not me, it's, I forgot her name, but it's a very good LGBT plus theoretician, a lady from Australia, who did a proper Hegelian move and said, no, what if we, when you have LGBTQ plus, what if we define this plus itself as a specific position? I can be a plus. And this is, I think, even the best definition of a subject. A subject is not simply something. A subject is always in excess of what he, she, it is.
And
yeah,
when I
yeah,
was
yeah,
reading Embracing, because I myself weren't always a fan of this idea of the gay community, this black community, this community, because again, this goes back to the kind of the ontological alienation that no one's really
yeah,
of a community. I don't even like
yeah.
saying I'm an Australian or a Sri Lankan in that sense. I
I
just
know. I don't think we really should actually. Like, I think that that's like, I just feel like what, uh, like, then you like, how far is that really ultimately from white nationalism, right? Like, it. I think it. Not that it is that, but it does. It, like, you're on that turf, right? Like, that's to me the issue. Like, you're on that turf. You're not doing that, but you're on that turf, and then that's the wrong. I don't want to be on that turf.
playing the identity game. But yeah, so again, the plus, the kind of the plus Jack talks of, could you say that the identity itself, that plus could be like alienation? That the
Yeah, yeah, I think that that's I think Slavoj thinks that. And I think I know I've had a lot of trans students that like Slavoj, interestingly, because he's gotten a lot of heat on this
recently, yeah.
on trans questions. But yeah, I had one trans student said to me, uh, you know, most trans people like Slavoj, and it's their allies that hate him for them, right? And I made the mistake of telling Slavoj this, and then he kept repeating that.
Yeah.
He kept saying,
He does that
"Well,
quite
my
a
friend
lot.
Tom
Yeah.
McGowan told me." I'm like, he doesn't mention my name and all these like nice things that he takes from me, but then this thing that's controversial, he makes sure to remember my name. But it was fine. Uh, but I think I think there's truth to that, and I think that the key is that the I think the real thing was the just like you're saying, that idea of the plus as the universal position, right? And that Slavoj even said things like, "We're all trans," right? And that and the plus is kind of
I
the
agree.
trans the signifier of that, which I think is right. And I think that seems to me to be the best way to fight for trans rights, is to say that's a universal position, not a particular identity, right? And I think that's, I mean, that's the idea of Black Lives Matter was, look, this is a universalist. It's not just, we're not fighting for a particular right. Like when we fight for when we say Black Lives Matter, we're saying, oh, that's a way of saying all lives matter, right? Like that's, so, and I think that was never properly understood, but by the opponents, obviously, or they didn't want to understand it. But I think that's a key thing.
Certainly. I mean, I think that's where kind of leftist solidarity comes with the global movements. I mean, one I can remember of is in Iran, the feminist revolution kind of movement that's ongoing in some sense right now.
Yeah.
And of course, the atrocities we see right now in Gaza and with Israel. Excellent. So
yeah, the Iran thing is interesting, isn't it? Like I think that put certain Westerners in a little bit of a bind, right? Because they felt like, especially I pay a lot of attention to news in France, and because there the hijab is a signifier of like something like religious free expression, right? And then forcing women to wear the hijab in Iran was the opposite. So it kind of like I think not enough attention was brought to the Iranian struggle. What was it? Freedom, woman, solidarity. I forget the three terms that were used. I'm pretty sure it's freedom, woman. I can't remember. I can't remember the third one. But I feel like that there was like a kind of failure of global solidarity on that, and I feel like it seems like
woman life freedom. Yeah,
woman life freedom. Yeah. That's good. I put solidarity in there instead of life because more my thing. But I feel like that it's been like, I feel like that the leftist response is sort of caught between. I feel like the community aspect really is has a deleterious effect on the solidarity internationally, right? Like against the atrocities in Israel. Like it seems like there's, on the one hand, there's a universalist opposition against what Israel is doing, and Ben-Gvir and Netanyahu in particular. And then there's a kind of particularist, like pro-Palestinian, like we're on the side of Hamas. And I feel like Hamas is a particularist organization, right? And so I feel like that it can't be a pro-Hamas like response. And so I feel like that's a really important distinction. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of that times that gets lost.
I, of course, radically support not only their concrete demands, although I don't buy into these crazy classifications, 32 sexual identities, and so on. So I support their demands, even many of the theoretical and existential foundations of their demands, like I don't feel that I have a fixed sexual identity and so on. I agree.
Yeah, you said in the book, you when you see the sign ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, usually I have problems. You mean I'm really a man and so on. But I think...
No, but that's a sort of more, that is an existential thing, isn't it? Rather than a...
it is. Because...
I was interested why that was.
Because
what's going on in your mind
we cannot
there?
go here into Lacanian philosophy, but I think Lacan's point is that every social identification that we get, and sexual identification is one of them dangerous, always comes with a doubt. We never fully are what we claim to be. That's why, I'm so sorry we don't have time to go into this, that's my feminism. That's why women as hysterical are the mouth of truth. Because you know what's for Lacan a woman's hysterical question? You say what I am. I am your mother, a whore, a lady, a woman. But why are you saying that I'm, this doubt about, am I really what you, the big other social system, is saying that I am? You women are much more interesting because this doubt about who I am is subjectivity at its purest. We men are more stupid. We usually believe what we are.